Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you a level 20 solo leveling class mod build guide in Baldur's Gate 3. This is a mod that's made by EddieMain21, and this is really cool. It actually has level 20 support, allowing us to summon in a Sovereign of Shadows elite enemy here, and you get all these cool other abilities like the Shadow Manipulation 1 through 3. You can hide out in the shadows, and you get a bunch of different spells here. So you also, I said in the last video that there's another mod that I'd recommend. It's the Cheater's Ring mod, because you can get the Cheater's Animating Spores, which allow you to summon up creatures from the dead, and anything that you take out, you'll be able to raise into your army. So this actually fits very well alongside this. So I'll be showing you a full leveling guide here, and first at level 1, we get cantrips. I'd recommend go with Bone Chill for the stop, making it so that the target can't get healing for a turn, and Eldritch Blast for obvious reasons. Now for our ability scores. We can go with something like this, so 16 Dexterity and Charisma, which is our main spellcasting modifier, 14 Constitution, 10 Intelligence, and 12 Wisdom, so that we have higher success rate on Wisdom saving throws. Although you could take those points out, put it into Charisma, and use the Hag's Hair to boost your Charisma to 18. So as we level up, we start to get more powerful abilities, like at level 2 here, where we get ourselves the first Shadow Domain, which allows us to summon a weapon or a ability to our side. You'll see that in a moment. With the Pact of the Blade allowing us to use our spellcasting modifier, so we can use Charisma for attack rolls. We also get Shadow Manipulation, manipulate the shadows into weapons, and increase movement speed by 3 meters when not wearing heavy armor. We also get a Fighting Style. Now I'd recommend Defense for +1 armor class. It's always a good idea. Archery can be nice too, or Dueling if you wanted to use a shield, and it really just depends what type of weapon you want to use for the second Fighting Style. At level 3, we get to choose a subclass. I previously chose the Sovereign Shadow here, or Shadow Sovereign, which gives us additional psychic damage on our attacks. I'll show off the Night Reaper here, which gives us the Silent Predator, giving extra necrotic damage on attack against a foe you have advantage on. And we can actually set up some pretty easy advantage, and I'll show you that as well as we get to combat. You get the Ebon Strike at level 4, doing Ebon Rupture, causing extra damage whenever they attack us. We get to pick some spells now. Dissonant Whispers is nice to give disadvantage on attack rolls. Arms of Hadar can make the target target not use reactions. And the Fog Cloud is nice to be able to hide out in. We also get a feat here. I'd recommend just boosting Charisma for better spell casting, as we're going to use Charisma for a lot of stuff here. At level 5, we get an extra attack, and we get the Rising Army Command spell. I'm a huge fan of command, so that's nice to get it there. And we get Shadow Manipulation 2, which gives us summoning shadow, which can help out in combat. It's actually pretty strong. We also get Key Empowered Strikes, overcoming resistance and immunity to non-physical damage, and the Cloak of Shadows, allowing you to turn invisible for 10 turns. You really want to be using invisibility, because we do get some abilities later on that really benefit from it. At level 7, we get an extra bonus action in Shadow Step, allowing us to teleport to darkness if you see it anywhere on the map. We also take level 2 spells. I think Hold Person is really good. You can go with Misty Step, because you can teleport to places that aren't in darkness. Mirror Image is also nice for increasing armor class by 9. It gets reduced whenever you get hit. But Darkness is also extremely useful. And it kind of fits the theming of this build as well, so that's what we'll go with. At level 8, we'll max out our Charisma here to get it to a nice even 20. And then at level 9, we'll get the Tenacity. You gain the Evasion feature. So basically, whenever there's a spell that has a Dexterity saving throw, you take half damage if you succeed on the throw, or fail the throw, and no damage if you succeed the throw. At level 10, we get the Shadow Domain, so we create an Aura of Darkness. Hostile creatures within this aura have disadvantage on attack rolls, and you can activate or reactivate it as a bonus action. And then we also get the Shadow Manipulation 3, which I'll show you in a moment. And some more spells here, which oddly enough at level 10, it reduces them back down to level 1 spells, so we can go with Arms of Hadar and the Arm of Agathis or Hex, or even the Fear Ray from the Beholder boss, mini-boss. At level 11, we just get ourselves the extra health. At level 12, we get ourselves an extra feat. And at this point, Alert for the +5 initiative works well, or the Savage Attacker to reroll attack rolls. We already get a lot of extra spells here, but now we get level 3 spells with things like Hunger of Hadar, Counterspell, and Fear being some of the top ones. We're going to go with Counterspell and Hunger of Hadar. Just fits thematically, although there's already a spell that has a similar icon. At level 14, we get Monarch's Power. Shadows created with Shadow Extraction have extra health points equal to your Monarch level, and proficiency bonus is added to their damage. At level 15 here, we have Shadow Assassin. Your movement speed increases by 15 feet, and you gain advantage on attack rolls against creatures that cannot see you. So we're going to want to hide out. This is from our subclass here. And level 12, we get some more level 3 spells. Animate Dead can be pretty nice, just giving you a corpse, raising up a corpse to help out. And Fear is always not a bad spell, because it can help out in a lot of different ways. Now we can also go with Ability Score Improvement to buff up our Dexterity for better armor class. Not a bad choice there. So at level 17, we just get ourselves increased health. At level 18, we get ourselves a Sovereign of Shadows. You gain the ability to summon an elite creature for 1 minute in action. This elite shadow does not count towards your shadow limit, and you regain this ability after a long rest. You also get the ultimate predator. When you're invisible and you take the attack action, if your attack hits, it is a critical hit. And your shadow blade's damage increases to 2d10, and critical hits to deal additional necrotic damage equal to your charisma modifier. And we also get level 4 spells here, with Blade being a pretty fun one. Phantasmal Killer is all right. Greater invisibility fits thematically very well here, so you could go with that. And even take something like the Mirror Image from previous levels, or Everard's Black Tentacles there. And for the feat, we'll go with ability score improvement, and then we'll just max out our dexterity. However, if you want, you could also go with the tough feat, and this will give us 40 extra health since we're going to level 20, and it gives 2 levels, or 2 health per level. Level 19, just a free level there. And then level 20 gives us the Internal Monarch, gives us the full power of the Shadow Monarch, making us resistant to both psychic and necrotic damage. And when we use Shadow Extraction, we can raise additional 2 corpses. And we also get to take a level 5 spell with Hold Monster being really nice. So is Dominate Person, so you can go with those 2 there. And for this final one, we can go with the tough feat, which will boost up our health quite a bit, making us hard to take out. Now, as we go through this, I'll show off the combat, or I'll show off combat as well as the gear options here right now. So with this, I would recommend. So I went with the Helmet of Arcane Acuity. So whenever you deal a weapon damage, you get Arcane Acuity for 2 turns. This is nice because this will give you increased spell hit chance. This is an early game item that you can go with. Alternatively, if you wanted something like the Hood of the Weave for just guaranteed +2 bonus to your spell casting, that can also work nicely as well. Or the Helm of Baldur if you really want to boost up your overall armor class to 26. But it's entirely up to you how you want to build this out. We can also go with the Steel Watcher helmet so that we cannot be blinded too. So that's another option that we got. The Hood of the Weave is really nice too. I also went with the Deathstalker Mantle. If you're the Dark Urge, this plays perfectly because it turns you invisible after taking out a target. Although Cloak Protection is also quite nice. The Ballast Armor makes us that enemies become vulnerable to piercing damage unless they're resistant or immune to it, with a +2 initiative. So we deal double piercing damage, which makes some of our attacks very powerful. Not this one, but I'll get to that. Helldust Gloves will give us better spellcasting and fire damage on our melee attacks, so it's a nice combination there. And the Evasive Shoes gives a +1 armor class. Now, alternatively, you can add in something like, if you're going with gloves here, you can give like Spell Might gloves to give better spell casting. Legacy of the Masters will give us better attack and damage rolls. Gloves of Dexterity can be good early game, so you could go with alternatively those. Now, for the weapons, I have the Justiciar Scimitar here. This is good mid in Act 2, roughly. Or I guess into Act 3 as well. This, if you attack with advantage, you have a chance of blinding your target, which is really nice. Previously covered Shattered Spear of the Evening because this gives us darkness and ability to see in darkness, which is very strong. It's probably the best weapon, but I don't want to use it because I previously did cover it. The Infernal Rapier is also quite nice because this gives us better spell casting and it gives us a Cambion spell. And we also use our Charisma for attack rolls, although it's not a huge deal. You can also go with like the Crimson Mischief, which is a short sword that whenever you do a attack with advantage, you get additional 7 piercing damage, which can go nicely with our Silent Predator attacks, which will give us a ton of extra damage. So these combine together to make it very powerful. You can also go with like the Rhapsody Dagger there as well, or even early game, the Fowler Aloof Sword works well. So I also went with the Hellrider Longbow for increased initiative, Killer Sweetheart, Ring of Protection, and with greater health. This is what it's going to look like in level 20 combat. So we get a few different summons here, like we got our Shadow Manipulation 3 giving us the Shadow Extraction Beast. Shadow Manipulation 2 gives us Shadow Extraction Mage, and then the first level we get like the Warrior, Mage, or Beast. So you get some nice options there. You can summon it in. It's just going to help us out in combat, so it's nice to have there. And this one gives us a triple threat. So anytime you use this, it makes 3 copies of them, which is kind of nice, but also powerful. Then we also have the Sovereign of Shadows, which lets us get another summon here, which gives us kind of like this Oathbreaker Knight looking fella. Igris here, he's got 270 health and he's got a lot of cool abilities, makes him very strong. Obviously this is meant to be a very strong class mod, so you get all these summons here. We got a few different dragon or owl bears, and then as we get into actual showing combat, we got like the mutilation attack, we got our Shadow Domain, which we can set up, and the Shadow Domain is nice because it's going to create us in an area of effect around our character. So we can set that up, and then if we want to put down like a crowd control of Hunger of Hadar, we can drop this down in an area as well. This will be our concentration now, and we have darkness around ourselves, and so does that. So this really fills up the battlefield with a bunch of darkness. Kind of cool. So now we're going to be going after targets. We got melee attacks, and we can go with our Silent Predator. If we have advantage on the target, we can give them extra damage. So this is going to be nice. Unfortunately, we can't drop it on them. So we'll just do an Ebon Strike here, which we have the Ebon Rupture. and he rolled a 40 on her attack roll. That exploded them and created a Death Shepherd from that. So some of these attacks will give us additional, give us an extra summon that we can just literally destroy with. We're getting some extra guards here to fight. You're going to see this is very powerful for a lot of reasons. So let's go with a weapon attack here. We got difficult terrain, but that's not a big deal. Critically hit it, exploding them and creating another Death Shepherd. And then we got our Umbral Telekinesis here, which can give us an increase to our armor class. I didn't even activate our mirror image, but this will give us even further increased armor class. We got 27 right now, so it's pretty crazy. After that, we got a single bonus action left to do, so we can go with like some spell casting because we got things like Bone Chill. We could even buff ourselves or use Hold Person. We got a lot of options here, but I'm just going to go ahead here with a Eldritch Blast here. I guess can't see because of the darkness. That's fine. So we can go with the command spell, and we'll use the command approach on this target here. It made me move up in front of them. That did not work out well because I got mine broken. That's not nice. Oh, crap. So with the Death Shepherds, they have the normal abilities that they have. So no rest for the wicked. You can raise a fallen undead with all of its health points here. So if there's any undead that have dropped, you also get the Flaming Blade, main hand attack, part the flesh, and beyond the reach. So we'll just go with the Flaming Blade here. Hunting down any type of caster there is going to be ideal. They do get an extra attack, which is pretty nice too. So we can go ahead and just continually attack them there. Applied bleeding, and then we also got Pommel Strike. So these are very powerful, and we daze the target so we can land command or hold person much more frequently with that. This is actually pretty strong. And with our Shadow Bears here, we got the Mother's Desperation increasing its strength, so we can pop that and then use this to, it's basically Owlbear Rage. You can use a multi-attack on enemies. We have a lot of different damage options, so we'll just go ahead with this here. And it's powerful. There we go. Knocked it prone too. Perfect. So these are strong. I would recommend just popping the anger attack there because this gives us the multi-attack, which is very powerful. And you can knock them flying too, which is kind of cool. You can see there we knocked them backwards. And yeah, we rolled pretty good initiative with them. So all the summons that you get are actually quite strong. Rest in peace, Shadowheart. And we'll get this Shadow Beast to attack here. I always just recommend using these attacks on one target if you can take them out, but they're very big, so they take up a lot of space. Now, the Death Shepherds are nice because you can have them chase down targets that are a little bit out of your own reach. So I'd recommend using that. And then we'll go here. We'll potentially stop the target's ability to heal with that attack. Nice. And then we'll hit them with the Pommel Strike as well. So a lot of these require short rest to be able to get it back, but since these are summons, it's not a huge deal. And then we got our Igris here, who's actually really strong. He also has a darkness spell, so you can use that. Bolt Struck Blade, which can be very powerful. I'll just go ahead with I guess we got Staggering Smite we could also use, so I'll pop that on this target here, which will hopefully take them out, and it did. Perfect. And then we got a couple more targets there, so we'll go and try to lacerate this one here, moving through our team, and boom. You applied they saved on him. That's all right. But yeah, we got a lot of summons that are actually pretty strong on their own. So we're back to our character here. I guess I'll just use Darkness over here to force them away. Trying to pull them this way, so that's really all I got in terms of abilities that I could do, and then I can just probably hit them with, we have just bonus action abilities here. So whatever Lithid spot abilities you got, even have the Death Mark, which is kind of cool concentration, giving an additional 48 necrotic damage on an attack. But yeah, the Darkness will follow you with your shadow manipulation abilities and the Shadow Domain, the bonus action ability here. It's actually really cool. And back to Death Shepherds here, we got Part the Flesh. So again, trying to take out as many mages as you can with this. Its extra attacks are quite nice, and it also has the cleave ability, so you can hit multiple targets with your attacks, which I really like, although it's not that strong. It only does 2d6 plus 1d4 slashing damage. But with this, the Death Shepherds are actually nice for just tanking some hits for your team. And our Owlbear that just attacked there did an opportunity attack doing 13 necrotic and 13 slashing damage. Another Owlbear multi-attack. It can do this every single turn, so I just recommend doing that with them. And again, whenever you can cleave, it's not a bad idea. It won't do the most damage, but you can hit multiple targets, which is always nice. And you can also break concentrations more frequently with the more targets you hit. And our Death Knight here can also apply the Death Mark to a target, so we can go ahead with that. And now marked for death, and we can go ahead with our attack roll, which will do a bunch of extra damage there, taking them out in one foul swoop. That's perfect. They can also parry back attacks. Next melee hit you, reduce the damage by 1d80. Pretty crazy. So yeah, a lot of cool abilities with this, and this knight here is actually mobile. We also have the pack tactics there applying. So I'll go after mutilation here because this is a very powerful attack, 95% hit chance. That's going to take them out. Perfect. Exploded them. And then we got the silent predator too, which we could use against someone that we have an advantage on like targets like this, which have multiple characters surrounding them. Then we can go ahead attacking and completely ripping them apart. It's really strong. You also get a bonus action on Unarmed Strike, and since we have the Hellas Gloves, it gets additional necrotic damage, working perfectly here. The Death Shepherd's getting an extra attack is actually pretty strong. They may not hit hard, but being able to attack targets that are low on health multiple times is just really nice to have as an option. And also having all these owl bears as well that just do so much damage. There's a lot of things to enjoy about this class mod. And I definitely recommend giving this a shot if you found yourself interested in a class mod like this. The Death Knight here also has the Umbral ally, so it can raise a corpse and then you have someone else to fight alongside you. Really nice. When in doubt, Eldritch Blast is always a good option, especially if at a higher level you can shoot multiple beams per attack, which is always fun. And then let's use our Death Shepherds here trying to finish them off. We got 6 summons here and they're all quite powerful, not brokenly overpowered, but obviously as a whole this class mod is quite powerful, and I would definitely say an overpowered one, but it's fun and that's what the game's all about. So especially if you're a fan of Sung Jin-Woo and this anime solo leveling, this is the perfect class mod to try out. With all the different options you get, there's just so much here, and it's an absolute blast to play. So this will probably seal the deal there. Boom, finished it off. So yeah, we got a pretty cool squad. We got the Darkness following us. That was a level 20 solo leveling class mod build guide in Baldur's Gate 3. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the subscribe button if you found this video useful, and I'll see you all in the next video.